It's bad. I think he's dead.
Can you tell me where you are?
I don't know what. I wasn't paying attention.
How many people are hurt?
There were 4 of us. I was just sending a text to say that I'd be home soon. And then something happened. The car flipped. Please help my friends. Hurry.
I've used some 911 technology here to see that you're behind Oak Grove in the parking lot. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's where we are.
I have an ambulance, police, and fire on the way. Can you tell me if anyone will need help to get out of the vehicles?
Don't know.
Does it look like the doors will open, or will they need to be cut open?
Don't know.
Are there any other cars involved?
I don't think so.
Can you see your friends? How are they doing?
Hunter's on the hood of the car. Oh God, he's been sent through the windshield.
Okay, is he breathing?
I don't know.
Can you check?
I can't walk. I think something is broken.
How about your other friends that were in the car?
I can't see them. I'm not in the car.
Help should be there soon. They are on the way. As Fargo PD arrives on the scene, they're going to start protecting the area. They're going to make sure that no other cars can get in and drive into the area to hurt anybody that's been ejected or anybody that's responding to this scene. They're checking first to see, is there anybody hurt? What's the nature of their injuries? How bad is it? The fire department arrives with a truck company to perform extrication. All firefighters are also EMTs that will help with patient care. In this scenario, you're seeing 1 fire truck, 1 ambulance, and 3 police officers. Out on the street, you could see at least 3 fire trucks, a minimum of 3, if not 6 police officers, and in a situation like this, at least 2 ambulances. As we arrive, we start assessing who's in the worst condition, who needs to go to the ambulance first. Our first priority when we arrive on scene is the care of anybody that's involved. But as we're here, we also have to keep in mind that every accident scene is also a crime scene. We have to investigate it as such. The fire department has determined that the doors on the car won't open on their own. In order to make patient access, they're going to have to take the doors off. The tool that they're using is called the jaws of life. The tool is strong enough where if they were to use it on the fire truck, they could actually lift the entire truck off the ground. Our first patient, the person who's been ejected, has been determined to be our easiest patient to get to with the highest priority. We'll take care of him while we're working on gaining access to the rest of the car. We're out in a rural area at this point. We will be looking at, do we want laying on the hood, nobody's actually talking to him or taking care of him. That is because during the accident, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He was ejected through the windshield. And on assessment, they determined he wasn't breathing, he had no pulse, and he was a fatality. In order to facilitate access, they've also determined that they're going to cut the roof off of the car. That will allow them to get into the patients with a little bit faster and a little bit more thoroughly, and allow people to work in a less dangerous area. The tool that Captain Eisenhower is using to cut off the front door is strong enough where it will cut any piece of metal that is on that car. They'll develop roughly 190,000 pounds of cutting force. On the back, you saw Captain Kinkelfritz ripping away some of the insides of the car. We have to worry about whether there's airbags in the car. If those airbags get deployed during the accident, which in this case they might not, we can't cut through those. If we do, the victims in the car and the responders will be seriously injured. The police department's moving around and they're marking off things. You'll see that Spencer's shoe is marked. Anytime that we have a fatality on scene, this is going to be investigated. We'll probably be there for a good hour and a half, 2 hours, making sure we gather all the evidence, because once it leaves, we're not able to reconstruct the scene. You'll see the orange going around on the tires, marking where they were. They'll take pictures of everything. They'll actually have a crime scene investigator come out to the scene, maybe an accident reconstructionist, to determine what forces were involved. Is there anything that we don't know that could have been involved in this? What speeds were involved? We don't have enough responders here to do everything that we would normally do. All these responders that are out here right now are on duty. If something comes in, if there's a fire that breaks out a block away from here, they're all so normally we would have a lot more people here helping us out. We would have people under the tarp with our patients. We're not going to leave you under there on your own. You can see one of our backseat passengers was thrown through and is laying in between the front and the rear seats. Our passenger in the back passenger side seat was seat belted in and is seated right where they were when the accident happened. When we decide to take the roof off this car, we have to do it in a very coordinated manner. We don't want to end up picking it up and dropping it onto one of our patients. So when we get close, most everything else stops. We deal just with that. You hear the talk talking amongst themselves, are you ready? We're gonna have this off in a second. They need to make sure that everyone is coordinated in what they're gonna do. As soon as patient access has been given, the ambulance crew is gonna step inside and start making sustained patient access where they can get in and put seat collars on. They can start IVs. They can start to control any bleeding that they were unable to do before access was made. Crews are talking between themselves. Who becomes the greater access problem? Who is the greater priority for getting out of there? Spencer, who was ejected and laying on the ground, ended up with a broken pelvis. He had pain on moving his neck, but he wasn't able to move his feet. If you're ejected from the vehicle, you have a 50-50 chance of living. The vehicle might roll over you. The actual impact from being ejected might hit you. The bouncing around in the car might have been the part that caused the problem. So he was one of the lucky ones. He made it through the rollover on the ejection. Celia, who they just took away, had a deformed right arm. She wasn't breathing very well because she had some problems within her chest of ribs being broken and poking into her lungs. Her pulse was weak. She had a blue color to her. It appears that she smashed her face into the dash. And being in the back wearing a seatbelt, our patient was groggy, but she was alert. She has some pain because the seatbelt itself will cause some pain being across your chest. Your ribs may hurt. You may break a collarbone. But in the end, she walked away. She walked to the ambulance. At this point, from the fire and ambulance side, we're here to assist the police department. They're doing their investigation, getting the pictures taken that they need to take, and determining if there's any evidence of a crime that was committed. They want to find out what caused the accident. Is this something that we can prevent in the future? Is there anybody that has to get in trouble with this? Or was it just an accident? As responders, you'll see that they've quieted down. We've slowed down because there's no longer any lives at stake. And right now, they're going through some stages of grief on their own. And I've been doing this for 22 years. I would guesstimate that I've probably been to 300 fatalities during that time. Everyone affects us. The younger you are, the more it affects us. It affects your classmates, it affects your teachers, it affects your families, your community, and it affects every one of us that respond to you as well. One of the last things we do up in scene as far as patient care is we assist the coroner with putting our victim into a body roads that we cut off, the roof that we cut off, looking for evidence. They're going to look to see, is the car in park, is it in drive, are there any telltale signs about the car? They'll look at the seatbelts, were they being used when the accident happened? Did any of the airbags deploy? If no, why not? Are there any skid marks? I've done the scenes like this before where we found clear. We drive around in our fire trucks. We go by. Phones are everywhere. I've watched people leave stoplights, taking selfies to post on Facebook. We see this every day. The percentage of accidents that we go to that are caused by distracted driving is going up every year. Every one of those could be prevented. Every one of those impacts could be changed based on the decision that we make. Is it really important to find out what the weather is? Look out your window. Is it important to know what that text was? You're going to be home in 5 minutes anyway. Was it important enough to drive 10 mile an hour faster when, if you look at it, it saved you all of about 17 seconds on your drive? You caught the stoplight, the person driving the speed limit caught you at the stoplight anyway. The impacts that you make on your decisions by driving distracted, it's not just driving while texting, driving while posting on Facebook. It's eating in the vehicle. It is shaving as you drive to work. I've seen people putting toenail polish on going down the interstate. It's driving when you're tired. I've gone to multiple fatalities where somebody's fallen asleep in the vehicle and launched off the vehicle. All of those are decisions that we made that we changed. All those are things that we decided to do that we didn't have to do. If you're tired, pull over, take a 10-minute nap. Put the phone where you can't reach it. If you want something to eat, stop and eat it in the parking lot before you take off. How long does it really take you to wolf down a burger anyway? I've seen people eating bowls of cereal. In the car. I'm sure some of you have seen that. Some of you may have even done that. Because this accident affects a lot of people. Some of them are going to talk to you here today besides me. My name is Captain Joe Manginot with the Fargo Fire Department. I've been the training officer there just since earlier this year, but I've been on the department for the last 19 years. I live out in a rural community where I've been doing this for now 22 years.